There is something strange about the way we live. We are born on a planet that is absurdly large, full of languages we will never hear, mountains we will never climb, cities we will never set foot in, skies we will never sleep under. Yet most of us spend our entire lives pinned to a microscopic dot on the map. The same streets, the same faces, the same last name someone handed to us long before we could choose anything for ourselves. Society treats this as normal, almost natural, as if the place that received us must also be the place that keeps us for life, as if the geography that shaped us should also define us. But life rarely respects these expectations. Life is messy, life is movement, and sooner or later, almost everyone feels an odd and persistent urge to walk away from everything. Not a mild curiosity, not a casual fantasy, but a low internal vibration that keeps tapping the ribs from the inside. A silent sentence that says, go, leave, reset, disappear from what you know, trade the script. So where does this desire come from? Is it escape, courage, desperation? Or is it one of the most honest feelings a human being can have? Let's go deeper, much deeper. Most people, at least once in their lives, have imagined stuffing some clothes into a bag and boarding the first bus without checking the destination. Sometimes the motivation is obvious: a relationship that collapsed, a sequence of failures that feels heavier than your bones, a city that became too small for the size of your questions, a routine that no longer matches the rhythm of your inner world. Other times, the impulse arrives without shape, without warning, as an emptiness, a restlessness that does not hurt, but does not let you breathe either. You look at your life and think, nothing is exactly wrong, but nothing is truly alive here. Psychology has several names for this impulse: renewal instinct, environmental fatigue. Some researchers even argue that human beings, who imagine themselves built for stability, are actually wired for movement. Our ancestral brain learned to live through migration, through exploration, through survival on the move. A static life bumps against this ancient architecture. We might live in fixed houses, but our nervous system still remembers the open road. We might cling to stability, but our bones still carry nomadic ghosts. Some say the desire to leave is escapism. Others say it is one of the most human impulses we have, something close to a calling. Many people feel the urge to disappear at the exact moment their life collapses. I have felt it too, more than once. A depression that seemed to swallow color from the days. A relationship ending so violently that even the calendar lost meaning. A sense of circling the same emotional drain while the city replayed every mistake I had made. Anyone who has been there knows this well. The entire city becomes a museum of your own failures. Every corner holds a memory you wish you could bury. Every cafe brings back a day you would rather forget. Every familiar face carries a fragment of a version of you that no longer exists. Then the impulse arrives. If I change places, maybe I change with it. If I vanish, maybe I find myself again. If I escape, maybe I breathe. There is a name for this in behavioral science: the rupture heuristic. It is the feeling that a drastic change in environment creates a mental reset, a psychological restart, a pressure valve. Except the reset is never total. One part of the weight always travels with us, ourselves. But that does not kill the impulse, it just makes it human. There is a silent logic behind the desire to leave. When life stagnates, movement feels like survival. When pain repeats itself, distance feels like relief. When the past becomes heavy, geography becomes a mild anesthetic. And even if we know that changing places does not change who we are, there is something psychologically powerful about stepping into environments where no one knows our story. Social psychology calls this narrative freedom. In simple terms, the way others see us shapes the way we see ourselves. Stay around the same people for too long and your identity gets frozen. Change your surroundings and the identity meter resets. It is not just escape, it is reconstruction. Seneca once wrote that travel cures nothing because the mind travels with you. He was right about one thing. You cannot outrun yourself across continents. But he lived in a world without skyscrapers, without digital noise, without the hyperspeed of modern life. He lived without constant stimulation, without the dopamine economy, without the psychological wear of a world that never stops demanding attention. Today, our environment is so intense that sometimes moving away is not escape. It is recalibration, a biological reset. Neuroscience shows that new environments increase baseline dopamine. Novelty awakens a sense of possibility. Movement literally creates new neural pathways. Leaving does not cure everything. It does not need to. It already loosens the rusted bolts of the soul. Existentialists argued that meaning is not given, it is built. Sartre called us condemned to freedom. Beauvoir said meaning is manufactured through action. Seen through this lens, leaving everything behind is not running away. It is affirmation. It is a declaration of authorship over your life. Sometimes staying is the real act of cowardice. Staying in the bubble. Staying in the identity others decided for you. Staying because it is safe. Staying because expectations cage you. Leaving becomes a radical gesture of freedom, a reclaiming of narrative, not a search for happiness, a search for honesty. Since childhood, we imagine ourselves crossing worlds, pirates, astronauts, adventurers. We play at exploration because our DNA remembers what our modern life tries to suppress. Our species evolved on the move. Our imagination still carries that inheritance. This urge to depart is not rebellion, it is return. So is it right to leave? There is no universal answer. There is only one question that matters. Are you leaving to escape who you are or to discover who you can be? If it is the second, the world is yours. If it is the first, that is also fine. Sometimes escape is survival. The longing to leave everything behind is not weakness. It is awareness. It is remembering the world is big and life is short. It is sensing that your existence can expand if you allow it. It is noticing that maybe you were never meant to stay rooted forever. Maybe the impulse to run is the clearest sign that you are still alive. Maybe the pull you feel is your truest self rising to the surface. There is a perfect example of the urge to detach that was not born from fear, but from lucidity. Henry David Thoreau. He did not just think about leaving, he left. He walked away from Concord, Massachusetts, and lived alone in a cabin by Walden Pond for 2 years and 2 months. No luxury, no company, no social noise. Only his restlessness and the physical need to exist without the static of other people's expectations. People call what he did minimalism. The word is too shallow. Thoreau did not search for simplicity. He searched for essence. Two very different things. He believed society created layers of noise that drowned the self. Endless work, mechanical urgency, consumption, obligations inherited instead of chosen. All of it piling up like dust over consciousness. To truly see life, Thoreau said, you must first silence everything that is not life. He meant it literally. The cabin was not a metaphor. It was a scalpel. Modern psychology calls what he did social sensory deprivation, a full withdrawal from familiar stimuli to let the brain reorganize. Neuroscience now confirms what he discovered in his own skin. Silence increases neural plasticity. Focus sharpens. Internal patterns rise to the surface. Thoreau found this without fMRI machines, without research papers. He found it through presence. He discovered the most uncomfortable questions are the ones that emerge when the world stops shouting. Who am I when no one calls my name? What remains when nothing is demanded from me? What truly matters when life is no longer noise but awareness? These questions are brutal. They cut. They remove illusions. This is why people fear silence. In silence, the truth echoes. Thoreau never ran from society. He ran from numbness. He escaped not people, but anesthesia. Leaving was not a retreat, it was surgery, a removal of excess, a declaration, I want to live by choice, not inertia. When he wrote that most people live lives of quiet desperation, he was not being poetic, he was reporting. Quiet desperation is this: remaining trapped inside places and identities you never chose but learned to endure. Thoreau refused endurance. He chose rupture. And the most important detail, he returned. After 2 years, he went back to the city, not because the cabin failed, but because solitude was never the destination. It was the tool. Leaving was not a denial of the world. It was adjustment, alignment, a recalibration of perception. He proved something simple and difficult. Leaving is not always about abandoning. Sometimes it is about recovering. Sometimes it is about sinking deep enough to rise with a clearer spine. If he saw modern life, louder and more saturated than ever, he would probably walk into the woods again. Not out of disdain, out of sincerity. He knew what most people refuse to admit. If you never question the life you inherited, you end up living on autopilot. A life that looks alive but feels dead on the inside. Thoreau walked away to recover the pulse of existence. And maybe this is the real reason we want to leave everything behind. We do not want to run away. We want to return. Return to what is authentic. Return to what is alive. Return to what is ours before the world shapes us into someone we no longer recognize. There are days when life feels like a room that has slowly grown smaller without you noticing. The air gets heavy. The walls seem to breathe closer to your shoulders. Every routine becomes a loop. Every face becomes a reminder of who you were rather than who you want to be. And then it happens. That quiet, almost guilty thought. What if I just left? Most people hide it. Some lie to themselves. But deep down, almost everyone has felt the pulse of that thought. A desire that is not weakness, not immaturity, not cowardice. A desire that feels like a signal from a part of you that has been asleep for too long. It is the whisper that says life is not supposed to feel like a script you didn't write. It is the pull that asks for movement when everything around you stands still. It is the reminder that you are bigger than the place where you got tired. Psychologists call it renewal instinct. Philosophers call it existential freedom. I call it the moment your soul taps on the inside of your ribs and says, wake up, live, go where you have not gone yet. And maybe you will not pack a bag tonight. Maybe you will not buy a ticket. Maybe you will stay. But the feeling stays with you because it is not about running away. It is about remembering you have a choice. The truth is that changing your life does not always begin with a dramatic departure. Sometimes it begins with recognizing that your story is still editable, that you are not stuck, that some part of you is still alive enough to want more. That alone is a reason to keep going. That alone already counts as movement. If this message reached you, if anything in it touched something buried, that already means you are part of this space in a way that matters. Just by being here, watching, listening, feeling with me, you are helping more than you imagine. Truly. But if you ever felt like supporting this channel in a deeper way, you can become a member. Members help keep this content alive and in return gain access to exclusive posts, early access, behind-the-scenes thoughts, and a closer connection to the community that is forming here. And if becoming a member is not possible right now, there is also Super Thanks, a simple way to show appreciation and help the work grow. Still, hear me clearly. Even if you do none of that, you being here already means the world. Watching helps, sharing helps, leaving a comment helps, Every bit of your presence builds this space. So if this video made you think, breathe deeper, or feel less alone, consider joining or leaving a super thanks, not out of obligation, but because you are part of something that we are shaping together. And if all you can do is stay until the end, that is already more than enough. Thank you for being here. You matter to this place more than you know.